So within this lesson, we're going to make the ghost flash back and forth. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to flip from this one to that one. And we're also going to be using the two different ghost variations. So have his eyes actually moving. So back and forth between those two. So we need to set a brand new value here. And I'm just going to call this flash. Or actually, I'm going to give it a value of 0. And go down here, and when we're writing it out, I'm going to do flash in there. And this will make this one dynamic, and then we're just going to simply do kind of like what we did over here when we were changing the mouth opening and closing. And this is the one that I'm looking for over here. So we're going to do a quick check to see if it's which row it's on. And then depending on the row that it's on, we're going to actually adjust the image that's being displayed. So we're going to do, so if this one equals 0, then we're going to set it to 32. And if otherwise, if it's not equal to 0, we're going to set it to equal to 0. So this should give us that ability to have the ghost eyes moving when we go over. Maybe that's a little bit too much movement, but now we've got the ghost blinking. So we can either set it to remove from those eyes moving if we want to do that. So maybe that's a little bit too quick as well. So we might not want to do this necessarily. So the other option here is to see if it's powered up, and then depending on what the power up is, then we can change it back and forth. So let's or we can add this in within our countdown, and because we do have a countdown there that we're going to be counting down, so maybe we can add that in within the countdown, and once that countdown finishes, then we're not going to be switching between the two anymore. So we'll just do it that way there. So I'm going to add in this countdown, a check of the countdown there, and see if it's greater than 0. And if it is, then we're going to continue with the countdown to get it to reach 0. And I'm going to add in another value here in enemy, and I'm just going to call it ghost eat. And I'm going to set that to false. And going over here, whenever we've got our collision detection, I'm going to set power.ghost eat equals true. So while it's powered up, we're going to have it as true. And the reason that we can't really use the countdown is because we need to be able to decrease this, and we need to have something to happen once it reaches 0. So probably a few different ways to achieve this, but for now what we're going to do is we're going to say if this one is true, then we're going to continue with our countdown. Until the countdown reaches less than 0, And once it hits less than 0, and then this is where we're going to reset everything. So we're going to change this one to equal false. We're going to change the ghost number back to that original one that we had set. So ghost number, so this is going to change its color back. And we need to add in one more thing here, that we need to check if this exists, and we have to have so that we're not setting that dot, and I'll just put that less than 5. So now when I eat the dot, there should be a countdown, and eventually he should switch back to his normal color, and then we get our dot back. So now we've got our basic game functionality. We need to add in the collision detection with the ghost, and we also need to add in the ability for the ghost to run away from me once I've eaten the dot. So that's coming up in the next lesson.